This is the Sacred Business Podcast, a show for spiritual women identifying entrepreneurs and leaders. I am Sora Suriano. On this show, you'll meet inspiring guests, get some business tips, experience sacred practices, and listen to my personal lessons as a business owner. As a transformational business coach, powerful medicine woman, inspirational speaker, fire igniter, heart whisperer, and world traveler, I've helped hundreds of women around the world heal their stories and transform their sacred businesses. It's time for us to claim our rightful and equitable place in entrepreneurship through scaling our business efforts. You are worthy, Divine Sister. Welcome to episode 3. And today we have an amazing guest, someone that I love spending time with because I find that we are just a puddle of giggles. Hello there, Meg Berryman.
Hello. We are a puddle of giggles, but it's a great puddle.
I agree. I love that element of water because I feel like through the midst of our giggles, we have an array of emotions that we tap into.
Yeah, totally. And it's interesting because I don't have a lot of people in my life that like tap that. And when I do, I just love it. And we were just talking offline about the kind of sleep deprivation that comes with motherhood. And
Yes.
I actually meant to tell you that I was so tired the other day that I was in my head. I was like, you know, when you're multitasking, because we're like these priestesses that do a million like alchemy and like all
Absolutely.
the things. I was multitasking, like getting out of the house and taking my vitamins because I needed to do that. But I was looking at my dog and he's like limping around like the poorest thing in the world. And I was like, oh mate, like we've got to sort this. And so I went to get his tablet and I was like brain and autopilot, like got his tablet out of the packet.
Oh
like,
no.
straight in my mouth, glass of water. And then that moment of like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? And then like, what do I do in this situation? Anyway, it was just an anti-inflammatory. I took my dog medicine, but that's pretty much where I'm at in life right now.
I love it because it's so real, right? I mean, we are priestesses and many times we can get to that state of peace and ease and grace, but we're also incredibly human in our priestess experience, which means that things can be a bit crazy.
Yeah, and it's just like leaning into that. I think it's so like there's so much joy that can be found in just being in the chaos, but being okay in that, you know, it's just like this underneath your system's like, but I'm okay.
Yes. And speaking of sleep deprivation, so yesterday I didn't realize that I was incredibly tired, but I had the giggles and I was wearing unicorn slippers that have this like literally a horn that sticks up top. It's mush. It's like a soft material, but it sticks up. And I was going around hitting my husband in the butt with my foot and being like, you're getting a unicorn kicking. And I was just dying of laughter, literally peeing in my pants. And Aaron looks at me and he goes, you are really tired. You need to go to bed now.
Oh, my 3-year-old has the same slippers and I'm on so many levels.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so back to the show. Meg, would you share, based on how you're feeling today, how you show up in the world and how do you serve?
Yeah, so I serve in a social leadership role. So I really see myself as a social leader, and that leadership extends to all parts of my life. So my vision is for a world that's kinder and more equitable and sustainable. And I empower women to step into their leadership and craft a really powerful vision for them to support that kind of world. And for me, it's not just a vision that sits in my business. Like, I think it's so fascinating that we, in businesses and workplaces, we craft visions, but we don't have one for our life, like one that sits above everything else. And so when we get to the end of our life, it's like, what did all of that mean? And I think for me, what's really important is having that meaning now and seeing that meaning in like the everyday, like from hanging out the washing to the really mundane stuff, cooking meals, to actually working with these incredible women and activating them to step into their leadership based on their experience and their medicine and their gifts. And so how I'm showing up for my vision is I'm a parent of two young girls. I have my business. I also do public health consulting. I'm like regenerating this 1 acre of land in my where we've bought, because that's really important to me. And that's how I'm showing up for it every day, from the minute actions to the big macro visions.
I love it. And I love the question that you posed around what is meaningful for me. And even just carrying that question around minute to minute for even a day, I think can be such an interesting dialogue and conversation with oneself. Like, what's meaningful right now and why? And what does that mean for me? And what actions can I take around it? Or what actions can I not take and just be present with? So based on the work that you do, have you noticed any similar challenges or lessons that your community are currently moving through in the collective?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, as socially conscious women, we're always embodying that not enoughness in terms of how we're showing up in the world. And it's kind of a product of our conditioning in like a highly consumer system, a capitalist system, that we've been taught to be really empowered as consumers and not so empowered as social change makers. And so I think a lot of the challenge that I hear in the women that I work with is I'm not doing enough. Like, I'm not showing up for the world enough, which is, you could take that to any part of her life and she may feel the same. It's just something in her system that we've been taught. But I really like to take her values and have a look at her life in its current form, and to be able to show her according to this social vision that she has, which ties together all of her past experiences as well as her current challenges and voids, and ties together this deep passion for a better tomorrow. And I like to show her how she's already contributing to it, because you would face the same thing in your community. Like, we never see what we're currently doing. We're always seeing what we're not doing. And I think that the world is going to change through micro actions. It's not necessarily through giant, massive things. And that's what I think we can bring this feminine leadership lens in, to be like, the change we're making is internal. Like, we're internally alchemizing, change, and we're doing it in these different ways, using relationships and using medicine and using a priestess toolkit. And even individually, if the one thing you do is to empower yourself, like if the one thing you do is to work through your own empowerment and your own wounding, then the place you get to is a more empowered place. When you're standing in your power, you're affecting other people's energy in a different way. You're parenting differently and creating intergenerational change. You're showing up so differently that has an effect. Like, as a spiritual being, that has an effect. So even at a bare minimum, if you're just doing this work on the internal realm, that's enough.
I so believe that to be true. I find it's the most powerful. So I love what you're saying around a micro action based on an internal working. So like learning how to understand your internal system, and that creates and ripples in ways that really, really work and shift the micro organism of ourselves. And so I love that that's what you do. And you can already feel like the profound gifts you have as a coach to really empower women to be responsible and support them on their vision and be social leaders, but by working on themselves, internally embodying their leadership through whatever lessons and challenges that they are still holding on to.
Yes, you summed it up so much better than I am. I'm really glad you're recording. Yes, that's exactly right. And it's so profound, right? Because the medicine that you need and the voids you're working through is the medicine that the world needs, right? Like, and it's just, it brings me to my knees how profound this work is sometimes,
It's so true.
because it is so interconnected, and we just got to show up for ourselves in that discomfort and work through it and get support to work through it, and, find the community that supports us in that void. And that becomes our social leadership. And what you said about like bringing consciousness to it, like, this is the thing, is we're already leading. Because if you think about us on a spiritual and energetic level, right, like, we are a vibration, we're affecting a change already, but we're doing it unconsciously. And so the change we're affecting is like a bit random. But if we bring consciousness to that leadership, and we see how we're already leaders in our home, and we're already leaders in our community, and we're already leaders in our business, and the interactions we're having with people on a cosmic level, but also on an actual 3D reality level, that is affecting change. So we bring consciousness to it, and we have this strong intention of where we want the world to go, and everything changes, right? We find purpose in everything, in every relationship.
Yes.
And it's so powerful.
It really is. And I just want to say thank you with such gratitude regarding this other aspect of it, which is there are these moments where when we are holding the space for a collective community of people who are already doing such great work, and you yourself have been so really focused on your own internal awareness and really conscious and awake. And one of the things that I had asked and invited you to participate with in today is, may I support you? And may people listen as I support you, meaning the fact that you as a leader already have your skill sets there. And when we are at that space, we also need support too. We need to be vulnerable and have a place to lean on. And you said yes to this experience.
Yeah. And it was like a immediate whole body yes, because I just think it's like, if you say no to support, it's just, to me, it's like I've learned that lesson the hard way, and I think vulnerability, like, I don't want to go Brene Brown on everyone, but like, that is what breeds connection. And I am like a deep connector. I love connecting people and holding space for that depth, because I don't know, like, most of the women I work with are like me. They're like, walk into a party and they're like, who wants to talk about feelings? Like, let's go there. And it's really important that we have the space to like go to those depths individually, that space is held for us, but then that we hold that space for others as well. Because I think that's where the interesting stuff is, hey?
Yes, absolutely. So with that being said, may I support you today, and may we drop in?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. Close your eyes. As you do, I close mine. With my palms together, we sit here in prayer. And may myself, Sora Cyrano, come before this beautiful divine being, Meg Berryman, and may I open my space to her heart. Together, may we walk this path, unfolding where she may desire support. And whatever support she needs, knowing that it's coming from her highest self, along with all of the cosmic beings that are around her, and may I be simply a vessel for love, compassion, and any divine wisdom to move through, to support her as a coach and a social leader who is an incredible catalyst for change. And with that, we open our space together, inhaling and exhaling. Still keeping your eyes closed, Meg, if you can just take a moment and bring your awareness internally. And just notice if there's anything that arises that I may support you on.
Yeah, something's coming through.
Yes, what's up?
You and I have done a lot of work around like owning my value and feeling worthy, and I'm in a really good place with that as I birth this like deep soul work where I'm not just teaching like other people's work, I'm teaching my work for the first time in a really consistent way. Something that's come through is it's around, as I pivot more into this social leadership space, and get comfortable with the fact, like, there are women that want to talk about this stuff. Like, I'm just not a weirdo hanging out, like, talking about social justice. But it's how I really create that community using my gifts and then nurturing them so that when they step into the containers, and these containers that I'm making, like, I really believe are so deeply powerful and catalytic and transformative. But there seems to be coming up this thing around how to make that invitation effortless and how to do it in a way that aligns with my gifts. So basically, like, I guess in layman's terms, like, how to sell, but from my truth, because you know that when I step into, like, a different role, like, I lose all my power when I step into something I've been taught around selling. So I think I'm still trying to learn my process for that. And I would really value some support around that.
Great question. So if you close your eyes for a moment, because it actually feels like an energetic before a business strategy. And so there's a thing that you share that I think is very important to remember, which is you have come to a culminating apex in your career where you no longer are only soaking in information, but you are now ready to share your wisdom, your knowledge, your information. And that's leadership right there, right? So if you can tap into that awareness, where does that lie within you? Your empowered state of your wisdom.
It's in my womb space.
Great. Now, when you notice that within your womb space, for me, there's this feeling that it is creating a container in your womb, but it actually starts almost from your solar plexus.
Yeah, like, it feels like that's where there is something in my solar plexus chest that's sitting there, but I don't know what. That doesn't feel powerful.
Yes, exactly. Great. Okay. So it feels like to me right now, your womb space is a yes to the connectivity. You know, you're a deep connector and your womb desires to create that. It's like a beacon from like belly to belly, from one woman to another. Like, that's how you want to connect. But there's something in your solar plexus that is still renegotiating its way around your power center.
Yeah, that feels true.
Okay. So if you take a moment and just notice either the feeling of that or if there's a visual or a sound, just noticing what might be going on there, placing maybe possibly a hand there.
It just feels like a block, like almost like the womb energy is like kundalini, like it's rising. And then there's like this constriction around the solar plexus, the upper diaphragm kind of area.
Great. So still with your eyes closed, to me, it looks actually legitimately like a block. Like,
that's exactly what it feels like.
It's not just an energetic block. It's literally maybe like a playset block that's made out of wood or some heavier material, but it feels black to me.
Yeah.
So does that feel true for you around what it looks like or feels like?
It feels like it's very specific, like a black rubber ball that has a hole in the middle and like the energy is trying to get through the hole, but the black like rubber is really tight around the energy channel, like the Sushumna, right? Like in the middle of your body coming up. And then there's this like tight, black, dense ball around it.
Wonderful. All right. So let's take a look at this ball. And the fact that it has a little hole in the middle means that you are actually renegotiating it. So it's not a complete block. You're trying to actually move your energy through. But there might be an easier way to release the ball. So notice within your mind's eye of your imagination, which is where magic really lies and where it becomes true. If it's a rubber ball, is there a way for it to disappear? Is there a device you can use to swing it out of you? What fun way could you disintegrate this ball?
I just had the image of like throwing it to my dog because he would really love it.
Perfect. Now, how would you throw it? Is there a device? Is there a cosmic guide? Or are you internally in there and you can throw the ball?
Like, I can just reach in and take it out. And it's so telling because that's the thing. It's always that I try and make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yes.
That I can like literally just reach in there and take it away. But I'm a bit scared too. Like there's like some feeling of I don't want to do that. There's some resistance there.
Absolutely. Great awareness. So let's take a moment and just bring some safety into the experience. So we can bring in gold light. We can also bring in your guides that are there kind of almost like they're on a field and they're watching a game and they're there like, oh yes, in the stands, and they're supporting you in this. You also have your beautiful, amazing dog that is present, so willing and ready. And as you do that, allow yourself to breathe, settling into it. You don't have to do anything yet. Beautiful. And as you notice your willingness, the ball begins to have a little more space and room for you to easily just kind of pull out. And before you pull it out or even consider, let's consider also how we will fill that space. Because our natural energetic system, once something is pulled out, wants to fill it and desires usually to fill it with an old pattern. So rather than doing that, is there a statement or a feeling or even an image that you know that you'll be able to replace in there that will serve you?
It's just a feeling of safe. Like it just is saying safety. Like it's something around like the word selling, and it's like the guidance is like you don't have to sell, right? And so taking it away is just going to be filled with like this positive feeling of safety and trust that like the energy rising can be trusted, and I'm a vessel for it, and I can give voice to it, and that's all I need to. That's the energy that's coming through.
Beautiful. Now, as you hold that energy, is it possible, and does this feel true, to create even the words around sharing is safe or inviting is safe and effortless? Not being too wordy, but we do want to instill this idea that you can invite, and aka layman's terms, sell, and it is in the divine great joys of the universe and yourself to do so, because there are people out there that desire and need your support.
As I'm like feeling into it, I'm getting much more specific about what the issue is.
Good.
So it's like I really resist giving people the full opportunity to step into the container. So I really resist like multiple emails and like multiple selling like of things. And then like literally I was talking to a friend yesterday and she was like, you did this webinar yesterday, like this amazing webinar, like I didn't even know about it, you know? And yeah, so it's something around the repetition of the message that I feel doesn't feel safe.
It almost, I wonder if it feels a little bit about not even the repetition of the message, but your allowance of being able to share your message frequently.
Yeah, that feels true.
That it's safe and okay to share as much as you want. It is not up to you about whether or not people listen or stop listening.
You know, it's even bigger than that. It's like, because this work is so deep, and my tendency is to like flip between things as a coping strategy. It's always been like the next thing and then the next thing. It's like my system grew up like that. I got validation for that, for like bigger and better. And so we've talked about like how being grounded in the now and like sending those roots down really deep and creating an offer with space. Like I've really had to retrain my system to be safe in like holding something for 6 months, for 12 months, or like holding a container open for and inviting people in for 4 months. Like that's a really difficult thing because my system's like next. And it almost feels like if I continue to like sell the same thing and to invite people like over and over again, that it's the same fear. I don't know if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. So what came to me was around, what if you can calm your nervous system in knowing that you will have next, next, next. It's just not going to
Yeah.
be a next new offering, but your next, next, next are these areas of new shares. It feels like a party that you get to have on a frequent basis. And so a party could be the same party, right? Like you're coming over for
Yeah.
dinner and we're having a party and we're having a get together. But there's a next feeling because you never know what the conversation will be or what experiences will happen. But it may be with the same people. You never know. Or maybe there'll be new people. And so if we can begin to shift that, and even with your black rubber ball, your ball could be your party. It could be the highlight that you're sharing over and over again. So what if that ball changes into something that you're throwing out there, right? That becomes almost like confetti of beauty. And you have an endless supply of that you get to move out through your solar plexus whenever you feel called.
Yeah, that feels really good. And it feels really good to like throw it out and then not run around and catch it, because that's essentially what I'm doing, right? Like I'm like essentially stepping into the role of my community and being like, how would I receive this? Like, how would it feel to get 5 emails about this thing, you know? And that's not my choice. That's
It
not
is
up to
not.
me at all. No.
Exactly. For what I do know for myself is if I am deeply desiring someone's work, I will receive as many emails and have no problem with it. No problem
Yeah.
whatsoever. And I enjoy reading them, and maybe I won't read all of them, but I don't feel annoyed by it at all.
No, me neither. And if I do, like there comes a time when I'm not on their mailing list anymore and like that contract has come to an end and I feel really good about that. And yeah, I think it's the same for my community.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
So let's take a moment and go back into your solar plexus. And notice if you can begin to change this black rubber ball into something else that signifies your party-like frequency of information, announcements, and shares. What image is coming to you?
Yeah, like a little, it's like a little ball of like stardust, you know, like these sparks that have been thrown out and like landing, some of them are landing with people and then becoming that like catalytic energy within them. And then others just like landing in the ground and making the like flowers grow. But it's just this, it's almost like, it's like consciousness, like it's like, or
Yes.
it's something that animates. It's something that animates things.
Beautiful. And you don't have to catch it. You allow it to land wherever it's supposed to land. Now, with that, is there a certain kind of device that these almost like glitter bombs can be a part of in your system, these little balls of delight?
What do you mean by device?
So either it's held in almost like a pocket where as soon as you're ready to pull the lever, it will then release. Or it could even be almost like a Care Bear stare where all you have to do is kind of have a specific stance or specific words.
Okay, yeah. It feels like there's no device, like I don't, like it's my hands or whatever if I want to like share it. But what's coming to me is that before I share, I need to be just working on like breathing or moving energetically that block out or transforming it into the glitter bombs, right? So it's like it's a moving, like my body needs to move in order to allow them to come out, like shaking or breathing or like I'm like jiggling, that kind of energy.
Great. So let's just shift then the awareness of your little glitter ball, and know that you don't necessarily need to have a block, that the block could actually go away, and rather it's about divine timing and awareness rather than a block. And so with that being said, we can release the block itself. We can hold on to these balls of divine transmissions And then begin to really feel yourself ready to share one out in the world. Notice the feeling in your body. And when you feel the fullness moving your body as a place of activating your ball. And when you're ready, send it out and allow us to just feel it, knowing that sharing is safe. Speaking your truth is so well welcomed.
So you want me to like share an offer or share something out
Share,
loud, or
yes.
just energetically?
Energetically first, and then see if you can use your words to effortlessly share who you are and an experience you are currently holding for others.
Mm-hmm. Can you feel like how much resistance I have right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like you can talk with me all day, but like tell me to share an offer, and I'm like, oh, no. I'm moving my body and I'm just sensing the glitter and it's coming. So thank you for holding this space. So this is the honest truth of like why this is so painful for me, is because I so deeply desire to activate all of us, like myself included, to step up and do better, right? And there's so much emotion in my voice because my daughters are going to grow up in a world where like water is going to be a commodity and it's going to be so damn hot. And like, not only those things, but as little girls, they're going to be taught things that like fundamentally in me, like I don't want anyone to feel the things that I have. And as much as that is like, we can't avoid our pain and I've alchemized and all those things, like there's something really human about wanting to do better. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's like self-realization, self-transcendence to that oneness, because the way that we treat ourselves, the way that we treat the earth, like that reflects something about what we believe we are and what we believe we're worthy of. And the reason why this is painful is because I so deeply desire a like-minded community of women where we're talking about these things. And it comes from a void that I don't have like a lot of those. I do now. I didn't have a lot of those sisters where I could be like, I'm deeply spiritual, but I'm deeply socially conscious as well. And how can I marry those two things together? And is it safe for me to express both? And so when I invite women into this container, I've just opened the School for Sacred Social Leaders and I'm running a beta program. So it's going to be the first time women are stepping into this container that I've created for 6 months. And we're going to work through not just crafting the social vision that allows you to effortlessly like bring together your parenting and your chores and your lifestyle and your friendships and your work. But we're going to be working through the 7 chakras to unblock the things that are stopping you from stepping into leadership. And like, that's what you're doing for me today, right? Like you're unblocking the solar plexus, which is where personal power for me has always been something that I need permission to claim so that I can step into my leadership more fully. And the desire is so visceral to have this experience be really profound for women that I think I put that expectation on myself to like sell it really well, because I know how powerful it is. Yeah.
And beautiful work, because you just effortlessly created and shared an invitation. Do you realize that, Meg?
I do.
What you just shared is your glitter ball. So that place of resistance is actually just a little, that is your little mechanism. And it's not about what perfect words come out afterwards. Is in the resistance, you sharing the discomfort was your profound invitation and yourself. Like it was all there. So you did shift it. Like, you have the ability to share. This is the way you do it, which is one of your key points of your belief system, which was around vulnerability. So your shares aren't going to be, here are the systems and please join me on these dates. Your shares are going to be about, right? It's going to be about, I'm so deeply a little uncomfortable about X, Y, and Z. And it's this reason why, for my past experiences of this. And therefore, it's why I have now created this, which is exactly what you just did.
I just never thought of that as like selling, right? Like it's just that computer glitch of like, I see other people selling and think I need to do it like them.
Yes, but you speaking your truth is going to be the way for your communities to feel deeply connected, because that's what you said. You want to feel deeply connected with people and have conversations that no one else is having, and you are creating that. So well done. Yeah. Well done. That is how, from a strategic level, that is how you will do this. And I mean strategic meaning like, what are the action steps in your business? And to me, it's just being yourself, deeply in this place of curious understanding of when you feel a little hesitant, and then sharing whatever comes forth from that. And I believe that is part of the medicine that will have others feel very connected and trust you.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
So welcome. And I love seeing and feeling your glitter ball. And so before we close, as Meg takes a moment to drop in, really feeling this and feeling into the words that she shared, not having to remember it, but just allowing the energy to settle into this new space in her solar plexus. Let us acknowledge that Meg Berryman is a coach, yoga teacher, social change catalyst who awakens sacred social leaders. Meg empowers the woman leader to journey from wellness to wholeness and beyond, supporting her to develop a powerful vision of the world she wants to live in, so she can align her energy and actions and find purpose in the everyday. She is a mama of 2 girls and lives with her husband on her property outside of Melbourne, Australia. And apparently she also has a dog. Take a moment to really embrace that, Meg. Sharing so much gratitude to yourself, your divine inner essence, and all of those that are in the unseen, as we alchemized a place of your curious wondering as to what to do next in your business, and noticing and realizing that as we shift this energy, you are exactly doing what you need to do to connect with your community. May your programs feel uplifting. May we support and celebrate the beta test of this beautiful school. And may you feel deeply, deeply held by myself and others. And with that, we close our space, inhaling together. Exhaling together. And so we close our session. Meg, thank you.
Thank you. The sun has come up while we've been speaking, and the sun has also come up on my willingness to step out and be seen in my discomfort.
Yay.
So thank you.
Looking forward to seeing all of your divine shares, because I absolutely love reading them. So please continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Sacred Business Podcast with me, Sora Suryano. If you love the show and desire to know more, check out sorasuryano.com. I would also so appreciate it if you would leave a love note, aka a review on iTunes. Now, remember, you have the power to create anything. You are able to bring forth beauty, abundance, and grace in your business and life every day while living a life that is wild, free, and calm. You are worthy, divine sister.